Hello and welcome to Endemic Times. My name is Amira. The West Coast is being hit with a severe heat wave during an unprecedented time of low water in reservoirs, which is greatly affecting the power grid, although mainstream media is not making that connection. While the East Coast continues to get blasted with rain and floods, Jackson, Mississippi is still without clean running water, and we're seeing massive infrastructure failures across the country. So let's talk about the drought and the food shortage, and how all of these issues are compounding upon each other. None of what we are seeing today is a surprise to scientists and researchers that have been monitoring the situation in the United States and abroad for the last several decades. In a study from the Climate and Global Dynamics published by MSNBC in 2010, the study's author said the following: "We are facing the possibility of widespread drought in the coming decades, but this has yet to be fully recognized by both the public and the climate change research community. Areas likely to experience significant drying include the western two-thirds of the United States, much of Latin America, especially large parts of Mexico and Brazil, regions bordering the Mediterranean Sea, large parts of Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia, including China and neighboring countries, most of Africa, and Australia." At the time of this article's publishing, this was the condition of the world's drought scenario, and it was looking at between 2000 to 2009. The projections in this report from, again, 2010 for 2030 to 2039 looked like this. So now let's look at our current drought map for the United States. This map was released on September 1st of 2022, and as you can see here, there are many areas from the projections that are experiencing extreme drought conditions. This is the current map of droughts in Europe. And as we can see, the surrounding areas of the Mediterranean Sea are suffering from severe drought, with the outlying areas experiencing rainfall and soil moisture deficits. And here is a map of Mexico's drought, and this is from August of 2022. Again, this is looking very similar to the projections that were made in that article from 2010. So the question that you're probably asking yourself is, why is this important? And that's a very good question, because understanding our current situation without any political agenda or mainstream narrative spin is crucial for understanding why we are seeing the situations we are seeing all across the country and the world. Water is a key component for life and survival. It is essential for our own lives, hygiene, and it is a crucial component in food cultivation. As water continues to become more and more scarce, cutbacks are going to occur, and in some places like California, Arizona, and New Mexico, these cuts are already taking place. My High Plains reported in August of this year that the drought, having already surpassed decade-long records in Texas, is likely to worsen. According to the National Weather Service, nearly the entire state is expected to be experiencing drought conditions by the end of October. Producers in the Texas Panhandle have struggled with the impact on their crop output, as well as the lack of resources available for livestock, and even where their yields haven't been ravaged by wildfires. Research from sources such as the United States Geological Survey shows that withdrawals from its water supply far outpace that rate. According to researchers from Stanford University, West Texas A&M University, and others, up to 40% of Ogallala will be unable to support irrigated crop production within the next 80 years. Other studies have even more dire news, projecting that the entire aquifer will be 70% depleted within the next 50 years. According to the High Plains Water District, Ogallala spans 174,000 square miles and underlies 8 states: Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and South Dakota. Over 90% of Ogallala's supply is used for irrigated agriculture and livestock production, though it also contributes to municipal water systems and other industries. While efforts to conserve water might seem to slow the decline of Ogallala, those efforts will also be challenged and possibly even negated by climate change warming temperatures, making already common periods of drought longer, and harsher. And Ogallala is not the only aquifer or reservoir that is experiencing this level of decline. This image here by NASA shows the decline in water levels at Lake Mead from 2000 to 2022. This is a steep decline that has made several headlines due to the amount of debris, boats, and missing people whose remains have been found due to the declining water level. And this image here, again by NASA, shows the declining water levels at Lake Powell, another crucial water reservoir. So why is this such a big deal? Well, there are many components that are coming to a head, most visible in a place like California. California, as we are currently seeing and will continue to see, is suffering again from cataclysmic wildfires that are affecting populations and crops. Additionally, the heat wave that has taken over much of the state is causing high temperatures, leading to people increasing their power usage for air conditioning. And this overuse on the power grid is pulling from an almost completely tapped supply. The increased heat, along with the drought conditions in the state over the last 2 decades, is leading to wildfires that are becoming untenable too often, which has a precipitating effect on crops. And it's not just fires that can affect the food yield, but also the smoke and ash, which affects other types of crops, depending on its density. Wildfires in California are no joke and have a place on the main stage when it comes to how we are observing and discussing climate change. Compound that with this severe heat wave and power drains, and this is why the rolling blackouts are occurring. The less water in reserves, the less power. With less power comes more drain on supply, which is why we're seeing what we're seeing today. How does this affect our food supply? Well, in places like the Texas Panhandle that are key areas for resources and crops, such as livestock, corn, wheat, soy, etc., a decline in water means that there will be a precipitous decline in those resources. As I have covered here, we are on the precipice of a global food supply shortage, which makes these issues of drought all the more ominous and daunting as our elected officials continue to drop the ball in making substantial climate change policies and bringing this awareness to the people. When it comes to food production in the United States, since peaking in 1981, U.S. wheat planted area has declined by more than 40 million acres, and production has decreased by more than 1.1 billion bushels. Wheat is the principal food grain produced in the United States. The 3 primary varieties of grain domestically sown are winter wheat, spring wheat, and durum wheat. Although the United States produces only about 6 to 7% of the world's wheat, it is a major wheat exporter. Despite expanding global wheat trade, the U.S. share of global wheat exports is trending lower, estimated at around 11% for the 2021-22 wheat international trade year. As the resources on the Colorado River are going to get more and more fought after and divided over by the 7 states that have rights to them, along with Native American tribes, it is the farmers in these water policies that are the first ones to get their water restricted. This restriction is leading to them lifting their crops and stopping cultivation altogether. All this fighting over the Colorado River water is going to lead to less food production, and because of that, we're going to have less food overall in the next year as we see the result of these crops not coming in. Farmers have been ringing the alarm bells for some time when it comes to this, saying things like bad times ahead, and they are having to deal with the increase in fertilizer costs that have increased in the last year. So along with water rights and the inability to have affordable fertilizers, there's going to be major issues with food cultivation and supply, which is only going to increase inflation even more. This is going to have devastating outcomes when it comes to smaller farmers. The compounding issues of drought and food shortages are going to lead to a Malthusian disaster. This is not just a U.S. issue. This is a global issue of massive proportions. Looking at all of these issues individually is daunting on its own, but seeing how all of this is connected makes it that much more real, palpable, and demanding of a global response. We can no longer put our heads in the sand thinking that technology alone will save us. We have to arm ourselves with knowledge, understanding, and preparation. That is how we will make it through. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you would like to gain more knowledge and understanding of this issue, you can check out this playlist on the global food supply right here. And if you would like to see this article in full, you can check out the link in the description box below. And remember to stay safe, take care, and be kind to each other. We're all in this together, and this is how we will get to the other side.